In 2012, Dark Horse Comics would launch a new series from writer Brian Wood. Wood rose to prominence working on independent titles such as Demo and Local. He then moved on to DC's Vertigo imprint with his most well-known series, DMZ. DMZ was set in a dystopian future in which a new American Civil War had rendered New York City a demilitarized zone. Dystopian future is a subject Wood would tackle in this new series, The Massive, even going as far as to consult experts to ensure scientific accuracy. The Massive would be set during a time where the Earth's magnetic field was beginning to disintegrate, turning the planet into an ecological wasteland. The principal characters are members of an environmental activist group called the Ninth Wave. The group is on a trawler ship called the Capital and seeking a lost sister ship, the titular Massive. The Ninth Wave was founded by a man named Callum Israel, or Cal for short. Cal had a moment of revelation while dealing with some activists on an offshore oil rig that was assaulted by several rogue waves. Joining Israel on the Capital are fellow soldier of fortune Magna of Sri Lanka, who often clashes with the others over their pacifist views, and a woman with a mysterious past known only as Mary. There are a few other minor members of the Ninth Wave who will pop up as the story goes on. For now, let's take a look at the first story arc of the Massive, titled Black Pacific. The Capital and her crew are in the Bering Sea attempting to track down a signal they believe to be from the Massive. Though they have tried to be discreet, they wind up attracting the attention of a group of Siberian pirates. Mary, despite the others' objections, elects to lead a small crew on a lifeboat to lead the pirates away while the Capital settles in a fog. It's been a year since everything fell apart. It began with a massive storm taking out the Cook Islands. Then similar events in eastern Canada shut down the Atlantic shipping lanes. In May, offshore oil rigs in California suddenly burst into flames, spreading toxic smoke down the peninsula. The Capital was in the Antarctic when several large chunks of the ice cap broke away. As seismic activity began to increase, the Capital and the Massive settled over the Mariana Trench in order to ride out any resulting tsunamis. Cal actually wanted to help those on land, but was voted down 2-1 by Mag and Mary. Still, supplies were finite, leaving the Capital no other choice but to attempt a supply run to Hong Kong. That was the last time the Capital and the Massive were ever in contact with each other. The Capital arrived in Hong Kong, finding it mostly flooded and full of dying sea life. Getting supplies was tough as currency rates were plummeting by the hour, and Cal left with Mary to locate what they could. Elsewhere, Middle America was buried under an ocean of snow while the Suez Canal completely dried up. Unfortunately, Cal and Mary were soon jumped by a group of local bandits who stole their money, satellite phones, and a few first aid packs before being scared away as several large Red Army jets began falling out of the sky. Back at the ship, Mag made a request to start loading up on munitions as Earth is soon becoming a free-for-all. Still, Cal wanted to try to continue his mission of peace. Returning to the present, Cal continues to maintain his convictions even when the Capital loses Mary's signal. Things appear to get worse when they come across a wrecked lifeboat, but it actually appears to be from the Massive, containing a tracker that was giving off the distress signal from earlier. However, this has allowed the Siberian pirates to locate the Capital as it has emerged from the fog. Mag manages to follow Cal's orders against bloodshed by using a hunting rifle to disable the motors on a couple of the attacking boats and scaring the others off with tear gas. Still, the Capital has lost some supplies, and Cal has no other choice but to head to a U.S. Special Forces depot located on Onalaska. Onalaska is the name for an unlisted Aleutian island named Onalaska that was used as a naval staging ground. The Capital and her crew have been using it to load up on armaments for hunting purposes only, as per Callum Israel's orders. Shortly after setting foot on the island, Cal is reunited with Mary as her boat had made it to Onalaska as well. The Ninth Wave ship Capital then sends out a message to all who can hear it. The Ninth Wave is not the enemy. We are on a mission of peace to protect this planet, in particular the oceans which are most vulnerable. Please open up your ports and trade on fair value. One of the ports that does open up to the Capital is in Mogadishu, Somalia, which has become a new haven for black market trading. While Cal elects to acquire supplies on his own, Mary decides to tempt fate by swimming in the notoriously shark-infested waters. Mag, on the other hand, is having the crew's science officer, George, work on backtracking the homing beacon signal from earlier. The main dealer Cal visits with likes to keep things on the down low, which is a necessity as everything has been falling apart. The man is willing to supply fuel but not water, as good drinking water has become scarce and is now a precious commodity. He also suggests looking for new currency or barter goods, as dollars, euros, and practically everything else are now worthless. So Cal goes looking for the new currency, shark fins. Due to shark fins being considered a luxury food item, often being used in soup, with major sustainability concerns, they have often been known to fetch up to a pound of sterling silver on the open market. And in this new post-apocalyptic economy, we seem to have reverted back to the precious metal standards. On top of that, if Cal is going to want to obtain shark fins, he's going to have to visit a man from his ex-mercenary past named Arcady. Cal doesn't trust Arcady, though, as he was a loose cannon who didn't have much regard for collateral damage or casualties back in their Soldier of Fortune days. Arcady now fancies himself a mafioso and offers a partnership with Cal, but Cal wants to save the world, not rule it. Arcady pulls a gun and threatens to take over the Capitale, but Cal's not worried, though, as the man he dealt with earlier has been following the two, and if Arcady shoots Cal, he'll soon be dead himself. Cal then gets up and leaves to get word back to the ship. In order to get water, they're going to need to go to Antarctica. The Antarctic continent is home to several stations that were built under the guise of mining geothermal energy. In reality, they were actually mining the ice for some very clean drinking water. However, they have to dig very deep into the ice as the surface ice is far too tainted from years upon years of pollution. It's at this point we also focus on a new crew member, Ryan, a college girl that Cal recruited when she was interested in joining Greenpeace. It's probably for the best that she didn't go there, though. I mean, Greenpeace doesn't exactly have the greatest screening process.
It was I, you fools. The man you trusted isn't wavy gravy at all.
I should also point out there's another minor crew member named Lars, but all I can really tell you about him is that his name is Lars. Ryan openly complains as she and Mary make their way to one of the Antarctic stations. The youngster is not happy about the news that she's being exposed to radiation, but Mary points out that Ryan was exposed to radiation in the cities as well, she just never seemed to really notice it. When they reach the station, it turns out they aren't alone as a group of pirates popped up and take the two hostage. Fearing any anti-American sentiment, or even worse, Ryan tries to play off being from Canada, which doesn't really work and both women are soon knocked out. When they come to, Mary points out that she overheard that the pirates are probably going to kill them rather than leave any evidence of their actions. But she manages to formulate a plan as the two are escorted to one of the boreholes and dropped in. Mary tells a distraught Ryan to hold her breath and stick close to her as they fall into a giant puddle of water. The two make it almost 450 feet through the melted water before they come across a mining module. Ryan is passed out at this point, but Mary manages to get both of them on board and equalize the pressure. She then manages to revive the young woman with CPR, but this is only a temporary reprieve as they will soon have to return to the surface and hope the pirates have left. On top of that, while the water down here is warm, up on top it's still sub-zero temperatures, so there's going to be a risk of hypothermia as well. This upsets Ryan, but Mary manages to give the youngsters some words of encouragement before they leave. Ryan passes out again, but Mary is able to revive her and get word back to the Capitale, who send a rescue chopper. Mary congratulates Ryan on sticking things through as the mining process begins. Mary also alters the security code in case the pirates come back, and this way no one but the Ninth Wave will be able to use the water station. You can't really fault Ryan for acting the way she does. I mean, she's barely 20 and still kind of naive to how the world works, even before the massive ecological disasters. Not to mention, while activism can be kind of exciting, it's not exactly a steady life. The Capitale makes its way back up to the Indian Ocean, where it encounters another ship. The ship is barely moving under its own propulsion and appears to be abandoned. If it is abandoned, Meg wants to salvage the ship as it's first come, first serve, but Cal's not too sure. Meg promises not to draw attention and to leave if the vessel is occupied. Cal finally relents, much to Mary's disappointment, and Meg leaves with George in order to investigate the ship and find the manifest to see what can be salvaged. However, unbeknownst to Cal, the two have ulterior motives as they are armed when they leave. Upon boarding the ship, the two find motion-detected security being activated and realize the ship isn't abandoned. Meg and George attempt to lay low, only for George to get shot, though it's only a flesh wound. Still, the two continue, hoping to avoid further detection. Meanwhile, the Capitale's radar spots a British military vessel appearing in the area and gets word to Meg and George as they take out two security guards and blackmail them into calling down the snipers. Realizing that there's something on the ship the British government doesn't want getting out, Meg makes a deal for a container of food and leaves the ship with George. Later, Meg drafts Ryan into patching up George's wound and swearing her to secrecy in the process. That concludes the massive Volume 1 Black Pacific. How was it? Well, I really do like how the story is presented. I think it does come across as being very grounded and gritty and realistic, and I think the artwork really complements the nature of that storytelling, and the characters in the story are all come across as being very believable. I mean, yeah, it's nice that Callum Israel wants to do the pacifist peace-telling thing, but at the same time, Meg is not entirely wrong in saying, hey, look, this thing is turning into a free-for-all. We probably should weapon up just a little bit. So again, it's all the characters come across as being very believable, very realistic, very relatable in each of their own way. If there are any drawbacks, it's just there's some points of this I did kind of leave out of the story. There were several introductory pages that were in an anthology comic called Dark Horse Presents that are included in this volume. But like I said, they mainly just serve as character backstories for the three main ones, Cal, Mary, and Meg. And like I said, I gave that at the beginning, and for some reason, those introductory pages are at the back of the volume of this trade, where they really should be at the beginning because they're introductory pages. Also, the narrative kind of jumps around a little bit. I mean, we're constantly bouncing from the actions in the present to the events of all the ecological disasters happening and when they first happened, and everyone going to Hong Kong and the disconnect with the Massive. And it does bounce around a little bit. We even have flashbacks within flashbacks, which is usually considered to be a storytelling no-no. That being said, those are really kind of minor quibbles. I mean, those are nitpicks at best. I am going to give The Massive Volume 1, Black Pacific, an A. And with that, let's see what we'll be doing next time on the Random Trade Review. Remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcatproductions. There, you can request a trade to be put in the randomizer, aka the cardboard box. Also, remember, like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.